After finishing Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, is it good first of all, and how does it compare to the original? Is it a faithful remake, and is it an improvement? Arguably the most popular game in the franchise, and what many would consider the GOAT of the series, it was pretty risky to remake such a beloved game, as if Ubisoft underdelivered, it would likely be the final nail in the coffin. Ubisoft had made several remasters and released several next-gen patches for older Assassin's Creed games, but Resynced was their first full remake. Before the game released on July 9th of this year, many people thought remaking the already beloved Black Flag was strange, as they thought an older AC game would be in need of a remake more than Black Flag. However, after Assassin's Creed Syndicate received a 60 FPS patch, Black Flag was the only game that didn't have a 60 FPS version on any modern console, as games capped at 30 FPS on the PS5 were all 60 FPS thanks to FPS Boost on Xbox Series X. So despite Black Flag not being the oldest game in the franchise, it did have the worst performance on modern consoles. I personally love the original, and Black Flag is my personal favourite Assassin's Creed. I actually broke my rule of not pre-ordering games and pre-ordered Resynced due to how good the trailers and gameplay reveals looked. But was it worth it?
Prison, safe and sober, yet dulled beyond reason.
The story is set during the golden age of piracy. You play as Edward Kenway, a young Welshman with ambitions to be rich and free. His original plan of becoming a privateer for a couple of years takes a turn as he becomes a pirate and gets wrapped up in between the Assassins' Brotherhood and the Templars. The Templars are looking for the Observatory and the Sage who can find it for them, and the Assassins are trying to keep such power out of the Templars' hands. Edward starts off as a man seeking wealth and becomes so obsessed that he ends up losing friends and his pirate republic of Nassau, but then goes on a redemption arc of turning his life around and doing what is right rather than what would benefit himself. Edward's redemption is one of the best arcs in all of gaming and is probably a big reason why he's a fan favorite protagonist. Edward is my personal favorite Assassin's Creed protagonist, and I think Matt Ryan did a great job at playing him. As for the other characters in the game like Blackbeard and Stede Bonnet, everyone is well written and acted. I think it has the best overall story and characters of the whole series. So if you're someone who values a good story, Black Flag is definitely worth trying. Along with the original game's story from 2013, Resynced adds A World Without Gold and Captain Stede Bonnet, which is an epilogue of Blackbeard's story, and a single short quest for Stede Bonnet to conclude his character. Both are quite good, but I wish they gave Stede Bonnet a full epilogue like they did with Blackbeard. But it does round his character out a bit better with letters that he wrote to Edward that add a nice emotional farewell to the gentleman pirate that the original game didn't have. A World Without Gold is excellent. It doesn't feel out of place and is well written and matches the main game's level of writing. The same can't be said for the 3 new officer storylines, unfortunately. Lucy Baldwin is okay. Padre felt very rushed though, as he changes his mind about joining you very fast, and Deadman is better, but all could be removed and I wouldn't miss them much. I like that they added extra content to explain how you get certain ship abilities, but they don't add much to the story for me. The modern day is gone and replaced with Animus Rifts. From a gameplay point of view, they are better but don't know about the story. They are narrated by an AI that felt out of place for me. I haven't played Shadows. I probably will in the future, but it is connected to the same Animus story and is the same AI apparently. The loss of the modern day was good and bad. I think leaving Edward's story and walking around an office was bad, but the story was pretty good, so I'm glad the game is more immersive and the Animus missions are optional so you don't have to do them. They give alternate what-if scenarios, and I wouldn't rush to play them if you haven't already. They are long and slow and feel kinda cheap. I don't think you're missing anything if you don't play them. Onto the gameplay. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced changed the combat from the old style of parry and counter every enemy and moved to a hybrid of the RPG style and the old style. It uses the RPG style hitbox, so you can make an enemy vulnerable by attacking before you have the ability to perform a takedown. Perfect parry returns with timing a parry just right will give you a short window to take an enemy down, and depending on your equipped swords determines how many takedowns you can chain together after the initial one. As well as the new combat style, the remake adds kicks to Black Flag. You can kick an enemy into a wall or object as long as they are within a few feet, and it will leave them open for a takedown. However, poor timing on a kick, or if the enemy dodges, will leave you exposed to an attack. You can do ground takedowns as well, by using the second type of kick, a sweeping kick, that sweeps an enemy off their feet and onto the ground, allowing you to perform a takedown. Finally, without performing perfect parries or using kicks and the environment around you, you can wear down an enemy with strikes that will leave them open to a hidden blade takedown. These can be done with swords or by quick firing your pistols. Another change is the addition of vaulting over enemies to create space and get out of a corner or simply to flank an enemy. The combat in Resynced isn't difficult, but it is more complex than the purely rhythm-based system in the original. While I do like both, I think Resynced is an improvement over the old AC combat style, as you can't clear an entire crowd by just waiting for enemies to attack and then countering them due to the takedown limit on weapons. The enemy AI is smarter as well in Resynced, as spamming the same attack won't work and will result in an unblockable counter. I love the additions of the kicks. They are a great feature as they give you more options during combat, but can be abused, but not fully due to the AI spamming block, but slight variations will allow you to easily punish enemies with kicks. I think out of all the AC games I've played, Resynced is one of the best for combat. It beats the old style and RPG style from a feel and visual point of view. Now, before I move on to naval combat, just a quick word about stealth. The stealth has been improved, as enemies are smarter now. If they see someone disappear, instead of just ignoring it due to distance, they will react and investigate. The crouch button is another great addition. I don't know why it wasn't in the original, but it is a very welcomed feature. Now, the naval combat in Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced keeps the original's blueprint but adds some new additions. Every firing mode now has a secondary firing mode. These firing modes keep the original shot but add things like heated shot for broadside cannons that deals extra damage at close range. These secondary firing modes add some more variety to the already amazing naval combat, without going overboard and adding things just for the sake of it. The boarding mechanic makes its return, where you can board a ship after you have critically damaged it. Once you board a ship and reduce the enemy's morale, just like in the original, you can use that ship to repair your ship, the Jackdaw, or you can lower your wanted level or even send it to Kenway's fleet. The new officers that are in Resynced is how you unlock certain naval combat abilities. Lucy Baldwin gives you perfect brace, where if timed correctly you can negate damage from enemy attacks. Padre gives you the ability to ram an enemy ship and is also a help in boarding ships as he joins you on deck himself. And finally, Deadman adds double broadside shot, where your broadside cannons fire twice every shot, dealing extra damage, and he adds a secondary fire mode for the mortar. I like the addition of using officers and adding a story to how you unlock certain abilities. I also think naval combat is pretty much perfect. It is, in my opinion, less controversial than the melee combat, as it hasn't been completely reworked, and naval combat still remains Black Flag's standout gameplay feature in the remake. You can also upgrade and customize your ship, the Jackdaw, from how many cannons it has to the color of your sails. Everything you see is customizable and upgradable, even the crew's clothes. Onto one of the things that makes Black Flag an Assassin's Creed game: the parkour. The original was slower and more realistic, with a magnetized sort of system that made you stick to walls more easily and was more automated. Resynced changes that by adding a more manual physics-based system. The original is heavier and slower, while the remake is much faster and responsive. There is less getting stuck running into walls instead of up them, and less chance of the wrong direction as well. I found I had very few times when I went a direction I wasn't trying to go. Resynced also adds a jump button that allows you to jump in the middle of free running that wasn't present in the original. Not only have the parkour systems changed, but certain parts of the world have been changed to improve traversal, such as awnings being removed, buildings having new climbable platforms, and a load of new interiors, similar to Assassin's Creed Unity, but not quite as many. Zip lines have also been added to speed up traversal. I love the new parkour system. I didn't hate the originals, but out of all the Assassin's Creeds, I found Black Flag and Rogue had the worst, as they both suffered from being clunky and unresponsive. While I do agree it isn't as realistic from a speed point of view, it's not outrageously fast to where Edward is superhuman, and it feels and looks much better in my opinion. The parkour is just really smooth now, and there's far less misdirection thanks to the responsiveness and with the added back and side ejects. Resynced also adds better physics, with objects breaking when hit. NPCs also have far better physics, as there's ragdoll physics when they are shouldered or kicked from a height. One thing with Resynced is the level of polish is extremely high, and I only ever encountered one bug during the Siege of Charlestown, as the mission would stop when the crocodile attacked one of the guards, but a quick restart was enough to fix it. Another thing with the physics is the cloth physics react realistically to movement and wind, and when parkouring on ropes, they dip instead of being completely still like previous games. As well as the fantastic main missions, there are numerous side activities you can do. For instance, hunting on both land and sea, as well as assassin contracts and capturing forts, along with various collectibles that unlock unique outfits like the Templar key missions. These side activities keep the world interesting and add a huge amount of replay value to the game. The setting of Black Flag is of course the Caribbean, and with Resynced being a full remake from the ground up, it improves and adds a lot. It uses the Anvil engine, and I have to say it looks phenomenal. From the cities like Havana and Kingston to the nature, I have to say it's probably the best looking game of 2026 so far, and is definitely the best looking Assassin's Creed game to date. The water is one of the best, if not the best, when taking into account the underwater areas with the reefs, and you can dive in the ocean anywhere on the map now. The remake removes loading screens from the sea to the land as everything is loaded into the world. Along with the seamless sea to land travel, there are completely new islands with new quests, further expanding the world from the original game. The improved density of plants bring the previously bland and flat jungles to life. The cities are more highly populated with NPCs that have unique animations, which replace the basic NPCs from the original. In Resynced, the textures of everything have been improved and shows things like signs of weathering on buildings. The new lighting system adds color and atmosphere that was simply not possible with the older lighting system of the original. I think the remake completely blows the original out of the water, especially when it comes to its open world, which has been expanded and enhanced, making everything more dense and alive with NPCs and nature. I think it is one of the best looking and fun open worlds to explore, and is packed with content and fun in the shape of random ship battles to encounters with enemies. There's loads to do and discover in this version of the Caribbean, and is probably the best setting of any Assassin's Creed game.
You shouldn't be here, Edward.
Overall, if I was to compare the original Assassin's Creed Black Flag to Resynced, without a shadow of a doubt, I would pick Resynced. I love the original, and up until the remake, I would have called it my favorite Assassin's Creed game. But now in 2026, with all the improvements, like it being 1080p and 60 FPS in performance mode for both the Xbox Series X and the PS5. I played the original on the Series X and it runs at 900p on there and 30 FPS, while the PS5 runs the original 1080p and 30 FPS. Not only is the resolution better, but the graphics are an obvious improvement, and the performance being 60 FPS now makes every Assassin's Creed game have a 60 FPS version on at least one of the current gen consoles. I played the remake on the PS5, and it has DualSense support, which I love when done well. But I do have a criticism, as it used it for firing pistols and for firing cannons during naval combat, and used very lightly during melee combat for the clash of swords, which was more vibrations than on the Xbox version, at least, of the original. But I felt it could have been better. I think there should be an update that improves the strength of the haptics and adaptive triggers, as well as adding them in for parkour. Resynced is the same great story with extra quests due to the added Blackbeard missions, which are very good, and the 3 officers getting their own short stories and a nice farewell to Stede Bonnet with his added mission. So it has more content, and I think every gameplay mechanic has been improved. All types of combat and parkour are better, and yes, you can't pick up weapons or use hidden blades outside of assassinations and takedowns, with the same limitation for fist combat, as it's strictly tied to the tavern fights and nothing else. These things being removed or changed made no difference to me, as I rarely use hidden blades for combat and never really picked up others' swords or muskets. So while I understand some people like them, I prefer using swords from a gameplay point of view, and the added kicks I think are far better than the removed options. The improved parkour makes traversal far more fun and less frustrating, and the improved stealth fixes one of Black Flag's biggest issues, as it now feels more like an Assassin's Creed game. If you were considering to upgrade to Resynced or play Black Flag for the first time, Resynced is definitely the better option and isn't €80 like a lot of other AAA games. It is €60 for the standard edition on digital stores of Xbox and PlayStation, and the deluxe edition is mostly cosmetics, so I wouldn't say it's worth it. The original is still good, but is limited by its hardware and only runs at 30 FPS. So if I were you, I would definitely consider getting Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced if you're a fan of the original, or if you're looking for a new great game to add to your backlog. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, and if you want to see more videos just like this one, subscribe so you don't miss a new upload. And thank you for watching.
A fair good morrow to you!